Okay guys, as we are preparing the whole Cars of Malaysia thingy, right? And then of course cars have categories, we all know that, right? There are entry-level cars, there are mid-level, you know, all the way up to the super luxury ones. Then we look at how all of you all answer, or not answer, voted. So for those of you who haven't voted, the link is down here. Click it and go and vote. You know, it's interesting to see how it changes over time, right? The day I saw the Yaris was behind, and then boom, it went ahead. Anyhow, then I asked myself, if I were to look at myself from each category, which will be some of my own picks. Now this is very biased, this is my own preference, okay, amongst the new cars, and this doesn't reflect whether the car is the best or not, but it's merely my own take on which one I have a soft spot on. All right, I might have more choices, and I might pick a car that is completely illogical. Anyway, here goes. I don't remember all 30 categories, but I'm trying my best to go from small cars to large ones, and then I go into the SUVs, and then I go into the premium, and so on and so forth. Okay, small cars, the small city cars, you know, the entry that people would go for. I mean, you have the likes of Myvi, you have stuffs like the Picanto and all that. Now, in terms of the one that surprises me the most in terms of how it drives, it is actually the Picanto. Okay, I might not identify myself with how the Picanto looks, because to me that car is that kind of, you know, quirky, tall-ish kind of design, right? So amongst the city cars, right, the really small ones, right, the only car that I seem to think that in terms of design wise that I can see myself stepping out is actually the Myvi, the new Myvi. You know, it's not offensive. The new Myvi to me is no different from a Honda Jazz, okay, except that maybe the Myvi is slightly better looking, slightly, in terms of shape, but overall they are roughly the same. Okay, yeah. If the Iris is considered an entry-level car, the Iris is of course the one that I would buy. You know, of course I hope the Iris can have the kind of ride pliancy, and not pliancy, the kind of big car qualities as per the Picanto. You know, the Picanto is a small cute car, but I tell you, that car, man, the way it rolls off, the way it brakes, the way it cruises on a highway, it behaves like a C-segment car. You know, the car is just very well engineered. In fact, in terms of engineering, I think that car is perhaps more accomplished than the cut price VWs. Okay, anyway, that will be my pick. And then if I go further up, the B segment, let me think about it. I just need to quickly run through, because certain cars, they overlap even though the prices don't, right? Price wise, the Mazda 2 is in another bracket compared to the Myvi. But then in terms of the size representation, how you're going to use it, because of the size, how you are using a car is largely dependent on the size of the car, right? So the Mazda 2 is very, very small, so in terms of usability is no different from an Iris. Okay, that's how it is. So for a B segment car, I think currently my favorite should be the sorry, the buses are parked there, and then 3 lanes became 2, so everybody each outwards. It would be the Yaris, I think. I thoroughly enjoyed driving it. I just enjoyed driving it. And yes, the front is controversial. If you ask me whether it has a handsome front or not, I can't say it's handsome. But there are cars that are born ugly, but people see something nice out of it. The 156, for example, it has an ugly front fascia, but everybody who look at it say it's beautiful, even though it's ugly, right? The E63 6 Series, it has an ugly front, but everybody loves it, right? So yeah. And then then if I move one segment up, in terms of the C segment, it has got to be the Mazda 3, for me at least. If not, Peugeot 308 is one that I pretty like as well, but I like the interior more than its exterior. I find the Peugeot 308, right, they had such a flamboyant design, but then the 308, they sort of dial it down to try to become a Golf. I think that's a no-no, especially for a French car maker, right? Further up, are we at crossovers yet? Crossovers. Now, I really like how the CX-3 looks, but it's too small for me, right? It is just too small for me. If I were to vote with my own wallet, cars in that segment, I think a very good buy is the XV. However, the XV doesn't have a large enough boot. Then it becomes the HRV. The HRV is the kind of car that you cannot find anything wrong with it. You just can't find anything wrong, you know, that car. It does everything well. Seriously, you think about it, the HRV is spacious, it is practical, it has decent interior qualities, even though the color might not suggest so. It looks decent. It has a hidden door handle. In terms of the drive, when you're at low speeds, it drives well. The moment your speed picks up, or you're trying to do something that's more dynamic, it will prove that the chassis is just not engineered to the levels of the CX-3 or the CHR or even the XV. Right? It's a simple car in that context. Okay, so which one would I pick? I love the drive of the CHR. The size of the CHR is also more practical than the CX-3, but I identify myself with the design of the CX-3 and the interior build quality of the CX-3 more. So if my budget is about that range, I will go for the Proton X70. Yeah, cannot argue with that, man. Seriously, the quality that you get, the stuffs that you get is just unbelievable. But I also know that that car received special incentives in terms of taxation. So if not, it would have been somewhere 140, 150k. Then it totally levels out the playing field. Alright, one segment up, mid-size SUV, CX-5 done. No need to argue, CX-5 done. If I want something more hard wearing, it will be the Forester, but it's the CX-5 for now. Further up, the chain. Larger SUVs, there are very few players anymore. Let's go into premium. Premium SUVs, premium SUV. Ride quality and comfort and soundproofing, X3. No doubts about it. The X3 is wow. Design, I think the GLC is just beautiful. But interior build quality plus ergonomics plus practicality, all that average out. XC60 beats the rest. The XC60 just beats the rest. But if your budget cannot reach that level, you want 100,000 less, the Harrier, very, very comfy, and it's a Toyota. It's gonna be absolutely reliable. Then we go one step up, the large SUVs. XC90, I had one. Can't argue with that, but I do quite like the new X5 and the GLE. Okay, I saw the new GLE. Love his interior, but not so much his exterior. The exterior is a bit. I felt that they're trying to make you look at it in a second glance, so that they design it that way that just you're kind of hoping that okay, over time it might look better, but it doesn't. All right. Yeah, Q7 is very accomplished, very, very good car. Okay, in terms of that segment, if you're asking about build quality, soundproofing, comfort and all that, I think the Q7, but then in Malaysia, the selling price plus specs, nobody can beat the XC90. The XC90 is in a price range that this segment doesn't exist in Malaysia if not for incentives. Alright, so yeah, XC90 had the same kind of advantage that the X70 has. So that naturally makes it a winner. You know, the XC90, if it were to be subjected with the same taxation as the normal class that you're buying, right, the XC90 is supposed to be a 750,000 ringgit car. So, you know, you're getting a bargain, almost half the price. Okay, one segment up, the really premium range of, oh, beautiful Mazda 6 wagon. Anyway, the really premium range of SUVs. We have the Bentayga there, we have the Cullinan, right? We have all that, right? But you know what? I know those are 2 million ringgit, 3 million ringgit, right? My favorite one in terms of design, interior, exterior, ride quality, everything is actually the Range Rover Vogue. Yeah, the full daddy size Range Rover. That to me looks classier and prettier than every other SUVs out there. In fact, the Velar as well, the Velar is just absolutely beautiful. In terms of sports SUV, I know the Macan drives really well, but it's too much like a hatchback to make me awe and go crazy about it, because that car just behaves like a hatchback, you know. There's nothing remotely SUV-ish about it apart from how it looks. I'm amazed with the Cayenne. In terms of how it drives, I don't think any other SUV of that size drives as well as that car. Okay, the Cayenne. Now we go to the premium compact cars. Okay, premium compact cars, 1 Series. It has to be the 1 Series. The 1 Series, yes, it has a cheap ass interior, an interior that just doesn't look like any premium car, right? But the combination of how it looks and the fact that it is a very modern car with keyless entry, with iDrive, with concierge service, BMW connected drive and all that, and a freaking handbrake lever, rear wheel drive hatch, that is a collectible. Any one of you who's buying a hatchback, go and get a 1 Series, right? It's a collectible, seriously. You can't find anything else like that anymore. The Clubman is pretty interesting, but I have a soft spot for Mini. But I think their modern cars, right, their latest range, right, is a bit too premium, a bit too sensible, a bit too serious. They lost that Mini-ness about them, the kind of funky, playful character which made them famous. They totally ditched that. I'm not sure how that would fit. Now, in terms of communication and branding, Mini seems to me like it's trying to brand itself one rung higher than BMW, which is just weird. Alright, compact cars. I think I'm the first Malaysian journalist I'm the first journalist in the world to have driven the S60, because I drove a pre-production unit. Alright, I think that car handles really well. It handles better than a front wheel drive Audi, but in terms of ultimate driving, definitely the G20 3 Series. But then the one that we tested is an M Sport variant, so the suspension is so hard. But if I were to put my money, this is something that is very hard for me to pick, this segment, you know. There are things that I like and I dislike about all of them. Have something that I like and dislike. Okay, so far in terms of exterior design, I really like how the S60 looks. In terms of the drive, the G20 is amazing, phenomenal. The XE is amazing and phenomenal. The C-Class isn't really that nice to drive until the recent facelifted C300, right? The C300, after they facelift it, they solved the suspension and the transmission idiosyncrasies. Then the car is really nice to drive, but it still doesn't have a left foot rest, so that is a big no-no for me. The Audi B9 A4 are very accomplished, very comfortable, best interior build quality, but the exterior just looks like a large Jetta. So yeah, skip. I really don't know how to make my choice in this segment. Maybe the 340i arrives and I thoroughly love it, perhaps, or the 415 horsepower Polestar T8 S60. Yeah, that will be 415 horsepower. Think about it. Alright, but design really, the S60 just beats the rest, I think. One segment up, the 5 Series segment. The 5 Series is the best car of that segment, no doubts about that. Okay, the S90 is the best buy in Malaysia because again of incentives, and then of the advantage from the incentives and the horsepower and the specifications that comes with the car. But if it were not for the incentives, then that car might not be as accomplished as a 5 Series. Huh? Okay, do I park here or do I park outdoors? I think park outdoors better. More visibility. I'm gonna park at this corner. This is where the famous V90 got its rim nicked. Okay, let's park outdoors. Criminals are afraid of sunlight. Yeah. One segment up, the 7 Series and S-Class. Ooh, that's an M4 convertible. No, that's a 4 Series convertible. Can I park next to it? Oh, that's a visitor parking. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Drop the top, baby. Drop the top. Beautiful 4 Series convertible. Yep. Yep. And then come to the the luxury limos. The luxury limos, I think my favorite would be, all this while my favorite is the Audi A8. But that was the old Audi A8. And I love the Maserati Quattroporte, but also the old one, not the current one. The current one is like a long wheelbase Kia Optima. I love the Kia Optima. Oh, the Camry segment, Mazda 6. Cool. Done. Then we go into the supercar categories. Supercar categories, I don't really identify myself with driving a supercar or a wedge-shaped supercar, but if I were, it would most likely be a Gran Turismo. And I love the S-Class Coupe. The S-Class Coupe is just unbelievable.